Great. Hello everyone. So today again, this is Devabrata. Probably if you are following my classes, so you would know that I'm not doing those classes for any academic syllabus or for any job purpose. If you are really looking for the knowledge of SQL, then you can join. And if you are new, I would request you. And if you are really looking for the knowledge of SQL, so and if you are starting from zero, I would prefer if you can start it from the first class. So today is the 11th class, and today my planning is to take care of procedures or stored procedures also. So the famous, it is known as SP in short. So anyway, so let me start. I would not waste my time by introducing myself. So the links are available in the details section of this class. So let me start the class then. So if I go to the SQL Server Management Studio here, let me open a new query window and let me go to our database, that is BW. So I am doing this gradually. So we have created a table and the table looks like this. If I try to see the data, okay, these are the data in the table currently we have. So what is procedure, or what is stored procedure, or what is SP in short? So stored procedure or SP means, suppose if you want to do a task, suppose you want to do a task like select star from student or something with some condition, or you are writing a big query. Suppose you want to join that with some other table and join that with another table, and the query is very big. So now you can put this query inside a container. Container is not a good term here. So if you say this to any interview or any exam, or means I will prefer not to use this name, but it behaves like a container. It contain the procedure contain a tough query. It might be simple as well. So today we will first try to handle those stored procedure with some simple query. Then obviously at the end, I will show you what is the actual use of these procedures, okay, in real world. So first, let me start with some simple query, and I will try to put that query into this container called SP. So do not use that term container. Always go for the term like procedure or proc or SP, whatever you can use. So first, if I write our first procedure in SQL, so you can use this syntax: create procedure. You can name a procedure like display student, or uh, student display, something like that, student display. And you can write as select star from student. Okay, so you can create this. If I execute, this is a container, or this is a procedure which contains this query inside. Okay, so it in this case it is very simple, but in real world it is a bigger one. Generally it has, in my last project there were like 1,000-line code inside this, but you do not need to display this 1,000-line code to any of the user or any outsider or any stakeholders. You can just share this name. So for them it will be just one word name. They can simply execute the full query using these two words. You have to use exec and the store procedure name. Okay, store procedure name. So that's all. To them, it is just a two word. For us, it might be 1,000-line query, but in this case, I am using a simple query because we are just starting with a store procedure. There is no meaning to write a big query for this. You might be confused. So for the time being, if I execute this two word, it will show the same output like this query. So you can put, so the idea, I think that you are getting the idea. You can put any query inside a procedure and you can execute that procedure using this two word, exec and the procedure name. You do not need to write tougher query as a whole. You can share this name to any stakeholders who are not familiar with SQL codes and all. Even you can give this name to the Java or Python developer as well. Because suppose if you are creating one application and you are in that project, there are few Python developers are there. Suppose there are few Java developers are there. So for them, do not need to share these tough queries. They will not be able to understand. So better to them, just share these two lines. So it will be good. So I will share one link as well, where I have already described like how to connect Python and SQL. If you are interested, you can take a look. It is not SQL, it was MySQL, another database, but still you can take a look how people connects with front-end language to backend. But these are the tough words. If you are really starting from zero, do not need to think much about these. Otherwise, you might be confused. So for you who are really starting from zero, for you, it is just a container which is holding the tough queries inside. That's all. So you can use as well. So if I go more about the syntax, you can also use the word execute. It means same. There is no difference between execute and exec. So you can see it is behaving the same. Even you can write at the time of creation of the procedure, you can also write a short form, like some people used to write create proc. Okay, so if I execute that, obviously it will give some error because already there is a procedure with name student display. You can see that it is saying there is already an object name with student display. So let me create one like student display one. And now if I create, obviously one new procedure will be created. And you can see I have used the short name as proc. It doesn't matter if you are using procedure or proc, these are the same. These are just the rules. So now, suppose if you want to do some selections from the outside, suppose you want to see only male students, suppose. So what should be the way? So you can create a procedure like, suppose, okay, sorry, I do not want to delete. So I can write student display 2, select star from student. And here I want to take some input like where gender equals to something. So that should come from the outside, say. So if you want to take some input from the outside, so it will be something like you can write something, you can take some variable like G, suppose @G, G for gender, and the input type will be varchar 1. That's all. Now let me create this, and here this variable which is coming from outside, that will place here @G. If I execute this student display 2, let me execute. Yeah. Now for the outsiders means the people who are dealing with Python or dealing with Java or who doesn't know anything about SQL. For them, it is just 2 words, execute and something. Now you can tell them like there is a new procedure named student display 2, and you can mention some gender here. It is varchar in nature, varchar 1. If you know the definition, you can see it is varchar 1 because you have written that code. But for the outsider, you can guide them like you can input one letter text value. So it might be male, it might be female, anything. So I am inserting @M. If I execute, you can see you are able to see only the male people. If you input F, you will be able to see only female values. If you enter any other value like X or anything, you will not able to see anything because X is being the input, and here it is trying to execute something with X where gender equals to X. Select star from student where gender equals to X. So that's why you are not able to see anything else. So that is the way. So now it is not that you can only use one variable inside, you can use many more. We can use something like @A and varchar, suppose not varchar, @A for age, say. I can take input as integer, you can take date, time, anything you can use. So we know a couple of variables right now, varchar, we know We know int, we know date, time, and all. So I can use another, I can create another procedure. So it is not that we cannot modify the existing procedure, but for the time being, I am creating a new one. After that, I will show how to modify a procedure. So now I can use something like where gender at the rate G and age, suppose greater than equals to at the rate, something like that. So now if I create this, and if I go to here, and if I want to run all the male students whose age is greater than say 20. So if I execute, okay, sorry, not display 2, the name is display 3 now. So if I execute, so you can see, I am able to see only 2 people. They are male and the age is greater than equals to 20. If I just write 10 here, means the age greater than equals to 10. So I can see 3 people, 20, 20, and 17, their ages. So that is how you can take the input. You can do another thing as well. Suppose let me create display 4. You can use a statement like begin and end, and you can place your code inside. So begin and end in procedure is optional. Either you can use, it means the procedure body is starting from here and ending at here. So in between, you can find a tough query. So if you have any lines after that, that means it is not a part of the procedure. Suppose you are saying something employee, suppose. So that means this line is not a part of the procedure. So to confirm that, people sometimes use begin and end, but for you, there is no meaning to use that. So if you want to modify something, suppose if you want to modify student display 3, okay, so you can just use alter command, alter procedure student display 3, and you can use something like suppose age less than equals to 3. Suppose you want to modify the logic. So now if I execute, this procedure will be modified. Now if I write suppose 20 something, and it will give you the same result. Okay, so let me write 19. So all the values less than 19 will be displayed. So that is only one people. One person is there on Anshul having age less than 19. So I have changed the definition. So you can change as well the definition using alter. So there is another way as well. If you want to check all the procedures in the database, if you go to the database name, if you go to the programmability, if you go to the store procedure here, if you refresh or if you open, you can see we have created 4 procedures as of now. If you wish, you can create, you can go to these options, script store procedure as, and you can create the definition. So whatever definitions we have created, it was for the first SP we created. So you can see the definition. For the time being, just ignore these lines. I will explain that later. If you wish, you can drop the second SP, that is student display 2. You can choose drop. If you click here, it will create the drop procedure syntax. Even you can write the same by yourself. So you can select the line, or you can select the full query and execute, and it will drop the student display 1. Okay, I hope it is clear now. Now, if you refresh, obviously, you will not be able to see student display 1 here in the list. So now it is only 3 procedures. If you wish, you can also modify the same, like choosing this option, create or alter to. If I choose, it is generating the same syntax, alter procedure that we have created here. Where it is, let me choose, let me select that window, just a minute. Here it is. You can see alter procedure, procedure name. So it is giving the same syntax here. So for the timing, do not need to use that. But still, if you want to do some changes, like you want to roll back to age greater than equals to 8, again, you want to make that change. Okay, ignore this line for the time being. I will explain it later. So if I execute, you can see, you can create that SP. So what does it mean by create or alter procedure? It means if the procedure already exists, then you are altering. If it is not, if it doesn't exist, it will create. Suppose I am with the same definition, I want to create another SP display 4. So it doesn't exist. So it will create that SP for you. If you check now, if I refresh, it created a new SP. So create or alter means either you can create if it is not there in the database, and if there is something with the same name, it will alter the existing one. So that is the significance of this term, create or alter. So I hope it is okay now. So if I go further now, if I want to check further things, like where I was executing the code, yeah, here. So display 3 means aim, and if I write 19, okay, I have changed the definition, so it should give 2 outputs now, because I have changed that to greater than the age. So obviously greater than 19, there is 2 people only who have the age greater than 19. I have changed the definition. So now if I place 19 at first and male at the last, what will happen? It will give some error, because as per the definition, if you check the definition of display 3, if I check the definition, you can see here at first position, it is asking for input of the varchar value, means the gender. At the second place, it is asking for the age input. But here I have changed the, okay, let me close all these unnecessary windows, otherwise I will be confused. Yeah, but here I am giving the age in the first position and the gender in the second position. That's why it is creating the problem. So I can do one thing. You can also do things like this. You can mention the variable name from the outside, @a equals to 19 and @g equals to m. If you do this, then you can change the sequence. Okay, because you are pointing that variable directly. That 19 is for age and male is for gender. You are giving the hint to the procedure. So you can run this procedure in that way as well. Okay. So now you can also modify the things in this way, like I can declare a variable, like declare @a, something like age int, declare @a int. We have learned the variable thing in the class 6, what I can remember. So in that class, we have learned how to deal with the variables. So I can take a variable like this, and I can put some value inside. So set @a equals to 19. And I can put this variable directly here @a. Okay. So you can put, suppose male is the first option, and on the second option, you can put @a. Okay. So if I run, it will behave in the same way. So it is not mandatory that inside the procedure, the variable is @a. That's why from the outside also you have to take @a. It is a completely different variable. You can use anything. You can use, suppose @x. You can use. You can put @x equals to 19, and you can use @x here. So in simple word, what I am doing, without using a raw value, I am using a variable and taking the value from that variable itself. So these two things are same. If I am running this query, so it is also giving the same output. I am using a raw value 19, and here I am putting the 19 inside a variable @x, and I am using @x. So these two means same. The behavior is same. Okay. So I hope it is clear now. If not, you can mention the same in the comment section. I will try to make you understand in some way. But we are doing the same thing. Here I am using the raw value of 19. Here I am putting 19 inside a variable and using that variable. So now if I go further, I can use some more things. Like I can create some output variables. What is output variables? Let me show you. So I can declare one output variable. Suppose I want to get the maximum marks. So I can use something called @max, and integer, or it is numeric, I guess, numeric. and 5,2. Suppose it is a numeric, what I can remember, I created the table with this value. So I am taking anything. You can take anything. For the timing, it is numeric 5,2. And I am doing one additional thing, that is using something called output. What does it mean? It means it is an output variable in nature. It is an output variable in nature. Okay. So now if I here, if I push this variable at the rate max, and I need to mention output. Okay, I think I do not need to mention it here if I mention it here. So let me create a new procedure called display 4. Or display 5. I think display 4 exists there. So display 5, I am creating a new procedure and I am adding one new variable here. So how I can take that variable here in the definition? So I am creating one new procedure here. Okay, I can write create or alter, but for the timing, let me write create. So here I can take something called, there is no mandatory that I need to give the same name. I can name it like @n, and it will be numeric as well, and it will be output in nature. It will be output in nature. So what I will do, I will just try to put the value inside that @m equals to max of marks. Okay, so with this criteria, gender something and age greater than something, suppose with this criteria, I want to find the maximum marks. So in that case, maximum marks will be, if I check the output, previous output, you can see with this criteria where age is greater than 19 and gender is male, the highest marks is 69. So I want to take that marks and I want to put that inside @m. @m is a variable with type output. So now I will check how to deal with this output and what is this output variable actually is. So if I execute this, if I create this procedure, student display 5, it is taking 3 input. Better to say it is taking 2 input and 1 output variable. I am putting the final value into the output variable @m. So now here, if I am providing, suppose I do not need @x even, I can provide 19 raw. Let me delete all this. Now concentrate on this part. I am providing 2 input @m. The male, the input, the gender input, age input 19, and 1 output variable. So you are curious about this output variable now, I guess so. So after executing this line, the variable will be inside this @max variable. So the value will be inside that variable. So now if I write @max, if I want to print the value of this variable, it should print the maximum value from that procedure, and that is 69. So what is happening, if I explain again, I am creating one variable. I am putting that variable inside the procedure with 2 other input. I am putting this variable just to collect some value from the inside of the procedure so that I can see that value outside. Suppose for some people, it might happen they do not have the access into the procedure definition. They have only the access with this. Okay. So in that case, you can push one variable inside. That variable will collect the highest marks, or any that will put any logic and get some value, and you can see that value from the outside without entering into the procedure definition. You can see those value inside. So here what is happening, 3 value is being received. Out of them, 2 value are input, having input characteristics in nature. 1 is output. So I am putting some conditions on the basis of those two input variables and collect the final result, the max marks inside @m variable. And @m variable is nothing but the another name of @max. So this is the use of output variable. So whenever I am putting the value inside @m, obviously from the outside, that is inside this, that is that we put inside @max variable. So @max and @m is nothing but the same variable. The name is different, but those are same. So from outside, I can see the value of @max. So that is my intention actually. Okay, so to put some value inside, and I want to see those value from the outside. That's all. Okay, so this is the working principle of the output variables. So if I go further, let me think what else we can show. So what else? What else? I can put something like if I want to see the definition of the student display 5, obviously I can go from here. If I let me click refresh, now I can obviously see the definition from here. Apart from that, you can also use something like, if you do not have the enough access in the database, sometimes it happens you do not have this access to do this in real world, in real working life. You have the you have some limited access over the production database. So in that case, you can also try to do this. You can write SP help text and you can mention the stored procedure name. Okay, and if you run this, you will be able to see the definition. The definition in this fashion. You will be able to see the full definition. I hope it is clear. It is pretty normal. What else? What else? Let me think what else I can describe today regarding procedure. Okay, we can do something like what is the definition? Yeah, here it is. Here is the definition. So I can create another student display 6, and let me delete those output and all. I do not require that. So I just want to print only the details of the student with gender @G and age greater than @A. And after that, I want to call the procedure once again. I want to call the student display 6 once again with the same input like @G and @A. So now you might be confused, like inside the display 6 variable, the display 6 procedure, I am calling the same procedure once again. So obviously, if I, okay, first let me create that. It is created. Now, if I run this from somewhere else, suppose I want to run student display 6. Okay, let me delete all these unnecessary things. Otherwise, you might be confused. My suggestion will be practice all those things. Pause my class until when you have, if you have understood it correctly, pause the class, do it by yourself, then go further. Okay. So if you do not practice, if you do not do these things, if you do not write those codes by yourself, you will not be able to understand it correctly. Okay, so you have to do it by yourself. Otherwise, there is no alternative of this. So now, if I execute this student display 6, what it will do? Obviously, it will first print the details of from the student table and call the same procedure once again. So it will keep printing the same data again and again and again. So to stop this kind of behavior, SQL Server has set a limit like 32. You can print a data or you can iterate the same procedure inside from another procedure up to 32 level. Okay, 32 times in short, or in simple, if I say it, you can do this up to 32 times. So now if I execute it from here, you can see 32 times it is being printed. If I go to result, so obviously first time it is printed and call the same procedure once again. Second time it printed the result and again call it for the third time, and 32 times it happened. And if you check the message at the end, it should be written somewhere. You can see here, maximum store procedure, function trigger or view nesting level exceeded, limit is 32. Okay, so you will not be able to understand the meaning of function trigger and view for the time being. I will discuss that in the next few classes, but for the time being you can able to understand this name, store procedure. So that means it is exceeding the limit, that is 32. Okay, so in other words, it is also being called as a recursive SP or recursive procedures or recursive store procedures. Okay, recursive means in grammar, recursive means which call itself. A procedure which calls itself is being called as recursive SP. If anything calls itself, that is being termed as a recursive, or this activity is being termed as recursion. Okay, but we will not dig down more on this, but yeah, this is an way. Okay, so if I go further, what else I can show you? Okay, I can create a temporary procedure as well. Like suppose student display 7, I want to create with the same type of details. Okay, so if I create that student display 7, so it is being created. Now, if I go to this window and if I want to run, okay, so this procedure actually it starts, the temporary procedures starts with hash. So what is the significance of hash? It is local procedures. Local procedures means you cannot execute this procedure from any other window. Like you cannot execute it from here. This procedure is confined or it is limited to this query, means this SQL query to SQL. So this query window only it is limited to. So you can execute this procedure only from this window, only from this window. Let me execute it. You can see. But if I go to another window and if you try to execute, it is saying could not find the store procedure student display 7. That's why if you add a hash, hash means temporary. Temporary means you are confined or you are limited, your access is limited to this query window. Okay, your scope is or your access is until this query window. Outside this query window, you will not be able to execute this or you will not be able to find this store procedure. So there is another way. If you write double hash, it means global temporary. So if I write it somewhere, single hash means local temporary, and it is limited to that SQL query pane itself. Okay, or in good word, people used to tell it like session. For the same session, it is available. For the other session, it is not available. To us, it is same like SQL query pane. For the technical word or theoretical definitions, you can use this word session. So if I use double hash, that means global temporary table. So what does it mean by global temporary table? The access is limited to that connection itself. And in good words, it is also until the connection is up. If you disconnect the connection between the server, the global temporary table will be vanished. And for local temporary, when you change the SQL query pane, if you go outside of the query pane, if you go to other session, obviously it will be vanished. If I show you, suppose I am creating, suppose student display 8, say, I forgot until when I created. So let me give a fresh name like student display 8. If I create this procedure, it is created. Now, if I go to this pane and if I try to run student display 8, if I execute, you can see the result. But whenever you disconnect, if suppose I am trying to change the connection, I do not have any other server, so I have to reconnect to the same server once again. So I have reconnected to the same server. Okay, so not from here. Suppose here, if I change the connection, And if I try to execute, I think it is not working, but still let me try to do that. Okay, it is saying could not find the stored procedure once, stored procedure from here. So if I create another stored procedure, student display 9, suppose if I am creating that from here, okay, what it is saying, uh, invalid column name. Okay, sorry, it is in master. So if I go to the BW, if I execute it once again, and if I write like student display 9, it should work from here. But if I change the connection, it will not work anymore. So if I go to the BW database once again, and if I try to execute the same, it is not there anymore. So it is until the global temporary table, you can access that from other query window, but until the connection is up. If you disconnect it and connect it back, these temporary procedures will be disappeared. Okay, so you need to remember that. So now these are the just about the syntaxes. These all are whatever I have shown, these all are about the syntaxes. Okay, how to write the stored procedure, how can you input some value, how can you take the output, and how can you create a recursive procedure, how can you create a temporary procedure. All of these are syntaxes. What is the use of real world? So suppose, let me close all this now, and I will show you some tough procedure which is really used in real time. I will explain that. So first of all, I will recommend you to pause the class at this part, practice all of those, then check the remaining section. Then it will be helpful for you, because I really want you to understand the topic. Okay, it is not like that that you have to go through all these and all, and you have to gain the theoretical knowledges. No, if you really want to learn, pause the class now, practice all of those by yourself, and then check this remaining section. So if I explain further, so I have some table in this database like this, select star from student. In real world, what happens, I shouldn't explain, I don't know what should I do, but still my first project was on the Levi's jeans. Okay, so Levi's jeans, my first project in my career was with Levi's company, famous jeans maker. Probably many of you will be knowing this name, Levi's Strauss and Company. So they have some online stores. What I can remember, they have 2 online stores. I am not promoting Levi's jeans. Do not take me otherwise, but they have 2 online stores and multiple. At that time, I used to take care of US and Canada stores, Canada region business, all those softwares I used to take care of. So they had 100 over 100 offline stores at that time. Okay, so they obviously they are having some sales. Okay, if I can show you for the, if you are interested, I can show you some the online stores of Levi's as well, because otherwise it is too much theoretical. Even in this YouTube classes, I cannot interact with you as well. So if I share those levi's.com, what I can remember. Yeah, so this is one of their online stores, www.levi's.com. Another one is www.dockers.com. So this is another store. So these two stores were there for Levi's, and rest of the stores are offline stores. So they have one table. I'm not disclosing the exact name of their table, but suppose they having some name like purchase. All of those purchase history or purchase details are being stored in this table. Okay, this is a table. So if I want to check, I can simply write select star from purchase, and I can see all the sales happening in these over 100 stores of Levi's over the region US and Canada, because my access was limited to US and Canada. But what is happening, suppose they are selling some jeans over the Amazon. So what is happening in this case? Obviously, as being an employee of Levi's, I do not have a access on Amazon site. Why should they give me the access of Amazon? So what they exactly do, every day at 11 a.m., they used to send all the details of the purchase history, all the Levi's purchases happening in the Amazon site, means Amazon.com. So they are used to send that all those details over a file, and we need to load that file at 11 a.m. every day. Okay, so that was the task. So suppose in this case, I am trying to create a real-time environment for that. So if I go to the desktop, if I create a file, so you can create a file like this. Let me create a text file. At that time, it was supposed to be a CSV file. So now you are confused what is a CSV is. So suppose I am creating a file called Amazon. Say every day I used to receive that file around 11 a.m. and I am changing the name to .csv. So if I enter, it will prompt like, do you really want to change the name of the file or file name extension? I am saying yes. So, okay, it is saying we have a file. Okay. Okay, let me do that. Yes. The file name changed to Amazon 2 because I have something called Amazon previously. Okay, I had something. So let me delete that. It might be created for some offline classes, might be. So let me do one thing. Let me now change the name to Amazon. I used to present this example because it is something close to real time. So now if I open this file, you can open this file in two ways, Notepad and as well as Excel. If you are familiar to CSV file, you will be able to understand. But if you are not, first let me open it in Notepad. So it is not mandatory that Amazon should have the similar structure like Levi's. The Levi's own database, in Levi's own database, the names are something like role, S name, age, something like that. Suppose this is Levi's table, say, and some data will come from Amazon. Okay, well, I do not have any Levi's table here, but suppose, okay, I can do one thing as well. We have some table called product, suppose, or something ordered, I guess so. Yeah, we have some product or we have some tables. Yeah, I can remember we have created something. Orders we have created. Yeah. So some data will be sent by Amazon as well related to orders, which has been taken place in Amazon database. So OID is not, it should not be similar with their database. In their database, OID is termed as order ID. Say PID, they have been termed as product ID. User ID, they do not share user ID. Say they only share quantity. Okay, let it be same in this case, QTY. And date of purchase, they do not share. Okay, it is, you have to assume that it is for the last day. You have to assume they do not share. Suppose they have some, it is not necessary that the Amazon database and Levi's database should be same. So they have shared some data with their order IDs looks different. Their order ID starts with 3, suppose 3221. Product ID 501, Levi's 501 jeans, and quantity is 3. Say something, I'm just trying to do something similar to real world. It is not possible always, but still. So it is 503. This is one piece. And another data called 10,000. So that was yesterday's data. Suppose it is already existing data. You can see 10,000 is always there. It is already there in the table, but still another data received. It was about 501 and quantity is 3. In the current data, 10,000 is 501 and quantity is 2. But in this data, quantity become 3. So today I received this file, 2 new data, 1 old data with some update. Okay, how can I load this in my existing table? So that I'm going to show you. Let me save this file first. I'm closing this file. If I go to the desktop, I can open this file as I explained in 2 ways, either in Excel because it is CSV file. CSV file means comma separated file. You cannot see comma here in the Excel format. Even you can open this file using Notepad. Let me open it in Notepad as well. We have just inserted the data in this format, notepad, you can see comma here. So whenever you are putting comma, that means it is splitting the values into separate columns in Excel. So I'm not here to take the class in Excel. So that's all for the time being. So if I close that, now my intention is to load this amazon.csv file into our database. What can I do? I go to database name. I want to load it into BW database. If I go to task, if I go to import data, you can pause the class and replicate these steps in your SQL server. If you face any doubt, you can tell me. So there are, you can see here it is saying choose a data source. There are multiple data sources are available, but my intention is to load flat file. So CSV belongs to flat file. So I can browse the file from the database. So here I cannot see that Amazon file. So I need to change this text file to CSV file or all files. Now I can see this Amazon thing. So if I open this file, so now it is saying, if I go to column, it is saying, okay, order ID, product, this is the content of the file. In real life, this file contains over millions of record, over 1,000 of record, but it is a dummy file. I'm trying to create a real-time situation. So it is now for the time being showing only 3 records. So now if I go further, okay, you can check the details here. It is saying column names in the first data row. Yes, I do not want to load the first column because in the first column, the column names are being listed. I do not want to insert those details into my table. Those are just the headers. So if I go next, now it is saying choose the destination. For the destination, I want to choose Microsoft SQL Server native client. So now if I go next, it is showing that from this file, you are trying to load this data into this dbo.amazon table. If you have a table already, you can choose that from the details. We have few tables like this, but I want to create a new one because I do not have that structure in any existing table. So it is better to create this table. If you want, you can change the editing, change the mapping, but for the timing here, you can see from the source file, order ID field is being loading into order ID. If you want, you can change the column name, but I do not have anything. I do not have any existing table. So I want to do as it is. So if I go next, if I go, okay, one thing I missed, you can save this SSIS package as well. So what is SSIS package? I will explain it later. You can save it. Okay. Or you can save it to SQL Server. You can save it to any local file. For the timing, let it be in SQL Server. So if you can even skip it. I will explain this later for not for today. It will be too much then. If I go next, and if I go next, it is saying the package, new package already exists in the specified server. Do you want to overwrite it? I am saying just yes by default. So that is not my intention. If I click on finish, you can see the file data is being loaded here. You can see 3 rows transferred, and that has been loaded to a table called dbo.amazon. If I close this, and if I check select star from Amazon, it should hold those details. So DBO is optional. I will explain the role of DBO on some other class. Do not need to take a look on that. In front of any table name, you can place DBO. Okay, dbo.amazon, dbo.orders, anything. In front of any name, you can use dbo. But for the timing, I will ignore that. I will explain it in some other class. It is not that important. So now you can see we have 2 tables, one existing table with Levi's orders, and another table, a new data came from the file itself, from Amazon site. So now I need to load this inside this table. How can I load that? For the extra record, how can you find the extra record? Obviously, you have to do the left join. If you can remember, so I can write something like select star from Amazon A. If you forget how to write left join, please revise the class of join. I am considering that you are able to remember those class. So A dot Now order ID equals to O dot OID. So by doing this, you will be able to see the full record of from the left side table. Now, if you add something like where O dot OID is null, means I want to see these two value only, means only this part, which is new. If I want to see that, I can only see the two new record, and I do not want to see everything. I'm only interested in O dot start. So if I execute, I can see, okay, sorry, not O dot start, the Amazon site only, A dot start. So I can see only this much of data, and I want to insert this data inside the order table because these are the new data. So what are the data? What are the field name? Okay, the field name are OID, PID, and quantity. I want to insert those data here. And for the existing data, what I need to do? How can I find the existing data? If you can remember, select start from again. Instead of left join, I can use inner join. And if I execute, what I'm doing wrong. Okay, OID is null, not needed. If I execute this part of query, you can see this is the common record. So every day, what I will do, every day, one file will be received at 11 a.m. I will load that file into Amazon table every day. And by doing this, I will be able to see the extra record and I will be inserting that into the order table. And by writing this code, I will be able to see the common record. And what I will do after that, I will just update Amazon table. I will just update Amazon table. I have already explained how to join and update a table in some previous class called join. If you are really following my classes, you will be able to understand. So A dot quantity. Suppose if there is any update on the quantity, obviously not update A, update O, order table I will try to update. Okay, first let me do one thing. First, let me select the necessary things. From O table, I want to select for quantity, the previous quantity, I mean, O dot PID means product ID, as well as A dot quantity and A dot product ID. So these details should be printed if I have written it correctly. Yes. Now this quantity, the previous quantity, I want to update it with the new one, and product ID here is same, so I do not need to do anything. But in case if there is any update, you can update the same. So O quantity equals to, it will take a new value from Amazon quantity. And similarly, the order table product ID, the previous product ID will be updated with product ID. For this case, we do not need any update here. So I will try to update O table. So these two records, if I execute, it will, if I execute these two things, it will, from the file, it will load all the new data to the order table, and all the old data, if there is any update, so it will update the same. I hope it is clear. And after doing all this, I will truncate. I have explained the truncate thing in the third class. So whatever, I am using all of those, whatever we have learned into this. Okay, so this is a task, specified task that needs to be performed every day at 11 a.m. So for the outsiders, they might be finding it tough. So even if you are finding it tough, I will put that inside a procedure. Create procedure. Suppose I can name it like every day or weekday at 11 a.m. I can name it like this, as something like this. So if I execute that, and there is one famous in real time, I am explaining about everything related to the real time. In real time, they have something called Control M. They have a software called Control M. I do not know much. There are separate team exist for this Control M. So Control M is a software you can see which is used to schedule you. I can show you some images of this software. This is being used to schedule some job. I really do not know much, but in our project, some people used to handle those softwares. I just need to give them this query. I just need to give them this query, weekday at 11 a.m. So I just need to provide them this query, exact this two word. And I have to mention, I have to fill a form, and where I need to mention, okay, every weekday, I need to execute that at 11 a.m. every day, 11 a.m. IST or 11 a.m. CET, at any specific time with time zone, I have to give every details. They used to schedule this syntax or schedule this query. So there is no meaning to give this complicated query to this Control M team. What we do, we put this complicated query inside this variable, this procedure name, and we used to provide only this small thing, this two-word thing to them. In real world, these queries are sometimes over 1,000 lines, over more than that even, and there is no meaning to provide all those details to them. Even in future, suppose we need to change something in the query, suppose we need to put something else here, suppose o dot date equals to something, I need to change something here. So there is no meaning to reach out to Control M team and say like, okay, I need to change something in the query, please give me the access, or please change that for me. So there is no meaning to do that. I can do the changes anytime inside by using alter procedure. So for them, it will be same, exact the procedure name. For them, it will be same. So if I execute this query, okay, it is already executed, sorry. So for them, every day at 11 a.m., they will just execute this query. If I execute now, okay, something happened. Okay, order table was identity insert. Okay, sorry, identity insert was set to off. Okay, so I need to change that identity insert, otherwise order table will not work. What can I do in short? What can I do? Okay, let me set the identity insert off. So I have to check the query. I forgot how to off identity insert. So set to off. How to do that? Let me quickly. There is. I used to forget the query. Okay, so do not. You do not need to feel shame on that. My memory is very low, so I used to forget the query now and often. So if I use orders, I guess the table name was, if I set it to off, yeah. Now if I execute, okay, again, okay, it is giving the error. Okay, so I need to do some changes. Order ID, what changes I need to do? Just let me think what it is saying. Column name in order when identity insert of cannot insert explicit value. Okay, sorry, I need to on it. Sorry, I guess so. Yeah, now if I try, I'm sorry. Now if I try, yeah, it is executed. Okay, something, but something is wrong, I guess. Select star from, if I check the order tables, what happened with order tables? I choose the wrong table actually. So, okay. And if I check the data from the Amazon, I think Amazon table has been truncated and I need to load it once again. I need to load it once again. I think so. Yeah, it is being truncated. So let me load it. Give me 2 minutes. Let me load it, and I can perform this procedure execution once again. Okay. So there is no meaning to just show the same steps once again. You might be confused already. Some confusion arises. So there is no meaning. So now we have the data again into the order table. So now what I will do, I will execute only these 2 lines. Okay, say execute weekday at 11 a.m. So Control M people just triggered this 2-word query. if they hit this query. And now if I check the order table, you will be able to see two new record has been inserted, and the old record, which was having 1003, I guess, or I forgot the thing. So something was there. So that was updated to 3. I forgot the record. If I check the Amazon file, it might be mentioned there. Okay, it was 10,000. So that order ID should be updated. Yeah, here you can see that updated to quantity 3. So every day we used to receive a new file that will be loaded, and Control M will trigger this query every day at somewhere around 11 a.m. or 11:30 anytime. And this file will be loaded every day. So this is a real-time situation that happens in real world. So the file might be a CSV file, the file might be a Excel file, any kind of file can come. Even you can load that to SQL, load that to Oracle, or even you can do the vice versa. You can try to export the data as well from the database. Suppose we are the Amazon database and we need to send the file to, we need to send our data to Levi. So we are the Amazon site. So you can export the data here and export the data in a format of Excel, in a format of CSV, in a format of text file, anything. And that file we will send to Levi's and they will be loaded, suppose. So you can import or export both the things. Okay. So that was a real-time situation and real-time examples. The class is already too long. So I hope you will be practicing all those things by yourself. And if you still have any confusion, you can let me know. And obviously after that, you have to solve the exercise of chapter 11 available in our group. So if you do not know the link, or everything is given, everything is mentioned in the detail section of this video or of this class. So in any type of confusion, any type of query, any type of question, you can contact me via the email or via the comment section. So thanks a lot for the day. Hope you have understood all of this I have explained. So see you again with some new topic in the next class. Bye for the day.